On today's episode of the Unofficial Shopify podcast, everyone's finally getting online. So we're going to discuss all the data we found in Shopify's recently released Q1 2020 financial report. Hint, it's good news. We're going to talk about what we're working on right now. This is topical. We have shipped so much stuff in the last month. It was possibly our most productive, most profitable month ever. If you are in e-commerce, be glad. It is a booming industry at the moment. And we're going to make predictions and discussions about Shopify's newest features. So we'll get into that. And then as long as we're there, we'll give you my favorite ads tip that I picked up from a man who frequently spends up to 30 grand a day on Facebook. Profitably, he's not just doing it for fun. And if we have time, we'll slide an ALLBIRDS teardown in there. Whoa! This is going to be a value-packed, exciting episode. Mr. Rita, do you agree with my assessment of what we'll be discussing? I don't know.
Well, yeah.
I was on a roll.
If I didn't agree with your assessment, this is going to be a real bad episode, because I'm just going to be like, all right, so I've been watching a lot of Star Trek Voyager. Let me tell you about my favorite episodes so far. And you're going to be like, financial results. So
yeah, you work from a different outline, and then let's see what we end up with.
Yeah, I think Janeway is really underrated.
I agree. In retrospect, Janeway is underrated. We didn't appreciate her at the time.
We didn't.
So, did you have a chance to look at these financial results?
I didn't. I assume they're banging because I know the stock is completely banging. In fact, my brother, maybe like 3 months ago, my brother was like, oh man, you think I should buy some Shopify stock? And it was trading at like, I don't know, 450, 500. And I was like, no, don't do it. It is literally at a 52-week high right now after one of the craziest runs ever. Do not buy this stock. Is only going down from here. But he didn't listen to me, and then he bought it, and now he's made a ton more money.
See, I think the best stock tip is don't listen to stock tips. Just go with your gut. Go with what your heart says is a good investment.
Well, you know what? That's true, and that's actually what I have been doing. And I'm right on the line between millennial and Gen X, like depending on your definition. I'm one or the other, but I'm a millennial with a retirement account, so it's worked out so far.
It's true.
First quarter revenue grows 47% year over year. It's up 50% over last year.
It's pretty wild, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and part of it, listen to this, like that, it gets better. New stores created on Shopify grew 62% from March 13th to April 24th compared to the prior 6 weeks.
All right. Oh, geez. So yeah, everyone's getting online.
Yeah, everybody, they don't have a choice. E-commerce is the lifeline. Businesses that were not previously online can now get online, or are forced to get online out of practicality, out of a need to survive. And on top of that, like that drove Shopify to add some new features. Like there's a pickup delivery feature, like pickup in-store feature built into the online store and the point of sale now, which helps a lot of people. And laws are getting relaxed around certain categories. So like, I talked to a large national brewer, and they said, hey, well, the laws got relaxed. We can ship beer in some states for the first time ever. So you have brands that like literally could not legally go direct to consumer before, now making that jump to direct to consumer. It's quite the sea change. It's exciting.
Yeah, you know what, I gotta say, and I feel a little weird about it because, and this sort of ties into the absolutely insane busy 6 weeks we've had, is everyone's going through this thing right now, and it's a real hard time for a lot of people. I mean, this is Thursday, the jobs report came out today, and they think that there's 20% unemployment, and we're having perhaps the best month we've ever had as a business, and like things are going really good. And it's like I feel bad about it. I feel really weird about it.
100%. I have what feels like survivor's guilt, because I see they see people struggling. It's like at least 1 in 4 households have someone who's unemployed right now. We have record unemployment. I'm sure in there we're not counting people who are underemployed. And, here we are like, oh, look at our success. Look at this industry that's just exploding. And oh my gosh, we're tied to this rocket ship called Shopify that just had their this phenomenal quarter. And we just had these amazing last 6 weeks. Well, the part we're leaving out is the first several weeks there of that run were utterly horrifying. And for a lot of people, they've never left that space. Yeah. They stayed in total abject terror mode. So yeah, I know I do. I think it is important to note that we're grateful, and certainly our success does not take anything away from other people's struggle and suffering. I'm just expressing my gratitude.
Yeah, no, I know. It's just it's really weird to have your greatest success being occurring during literally one of the worst times in American history. But it's it's lined up to play in our favor. We've banked in hard on e-commerce. That's literally all we do. It's all we care about is e-commerce and online selling. And then there is a slowly unfolding national disaster that just funnels a bunch of money into e-commerce. It's wild.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not through any malicious act on anyone's part. This is, we're just lucky to be, a lot of success is luck. And we were lucky to be in the right place at this time to be able to provide a service. And, speaking of that, we're talking about that, we had this amazing success. Yeah, suddenly we went from no leads to, which is scary for me, where I'm used to getting multiple leads every day, and no leads at all, and 1 a week. And I'm like, oh boy, got to come up with a backup plan here. To suddenly now, this isn't just us. This is all Shopify agency partners that I've talked to. Tons and tons of leads coming in especially the last 2 to 3 weeks, which reflects, reflects the numbers that are in this financial report. But different projects than we've ever seen before, brands that we would not typically see before going online. And to our own work, it was a lot of March was slow, and then suddenly in April, we had all of our projects that they were going, but not at some extraordinary pace. It was everyone lit a fire underneath all of these people all at once, and those projects just got knocked out. The last 3 weeks were probably the busiest we've ever been. Quite extraordinary.
Well, because we were in the home stretch on 3 different giant projects, possibly the 4, yeah. Possibly the 4 biggest projects we've ever worked on. Or all of them are in the top 5. And we entered the home stretch on all of them all at the same time.
I want to talk about those a little bit, but one of the ones that was interesting I think we'll have launched by the time this episode goes live. So I'm taking a little bit of a gamble on mentioning it, but Proven Winners, the plant brand. It's a garden nursery center in Michigan who makes, they grow and sell plants and some accessories, potting soil. And they sell in Home Depot and they sell on Amazon. And they, for the first time, they literally called it Proven Winners Direct. It is their direct to consumer online store. And we've got this really cool store for it. But that's one of those examples where this was a brand going direct to consumer for the first time. And they just happened to, it was a project that started before the pandemic. And then everything froze. We went, what should we do? And then suddenly it was we got to finish this right now. And sure enough, we met every single day until that project was done and ready to go live. For us, it's very easy to be cavalier. Launch it. If there's anything wrong, we'll just fix it. If you're on the other end of that, where you aren't well versed in Shopify, especially it's a new platform to you, plus it's a new sales. All these things are brand new. I get where you want to have all your T's crossed and your I's dotted before you go live with it. Because they don't have, if you've not done that before, you don't have the experience to know, there's, it's not life and death. There really is nothing that can go that horribly awry here.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, we say that a lot when, they're always well, what if a lot of store owners are like, but what if there's an emergency and I need to get a hold of you? And it's sort of like, okay, well, no one's going to die. So it's not truly an emergency. Like there could be a problem, but it's not an emergency. Like things can be broken for a tiny bit of time. It's okay.
We've had, in 10 years of doing this, there has never been a true emergency. There have definitely been things that like that needs to be fixed urgently, or, oh no, all of AWS went down and it took your payment gateway with it. And that's just like nothing that we could do anything about that.
Yeah, but I don't know if we want to circle back. Shopify's earnings, they're crazy. They're making a ton of money. Everyone's jumping into e-commerce, and e-commerce money is through the roof because that's the only way people can shop.
Well, listen to this. There's a stat in here about that. Gross merchant volume through the point of sale channel, so like the literal, like the terminal, the physical terminal in a store, declined by 71% between that same period, March 13th and April 24th, relative to the comparable 6-week period. But retail merchants managed to replace 94% of that lost volume with online sales over the same period. So really, like, in total, if you had an online store and you had a physical store on Shopify, what they're saying is your overall total combined sales only dipped 6%. It's very little. That certainly that should not put anyone out of business. But the shift went, almost entirely to online from point of sale.
Yeah, I mean it's a gold rush right now. It's an unprecedented moment where, going by those numbers, like 70% of dollars that were being spent inside stores has shifted completely into online. Like online, by doing nothing on its own, is increased by 70% over the span of 6 weeks. Like, holy shit.
Well, and listen to this. In that same period, local orders more than doubled in their English-speaking geographies. I guess this was not the case in non-English-speaking countries, but essentially they're saying in the U.S., local orders doubled. So it was like orders where I would have gone to just driven over to whatever store to go pick up a thing, now just got moved to online. Like, yeah, I know it's 3 miles away, but just ship it to my house. So, all good news, and I think the takeaway is like, if you were considering an online store, if you were thinking about it, well, it seems like there's no time like the present, especially now.
Well, yeah. What's the line? The best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago, and the second best time is today. I mean, it's the same thing. The best time to start your e-commerce store was 10 years ago, but today will also work.
So I want to circle back to like some of those projects we've been working on that I'm proud of, and I think we'll launch this month. A super secret, super cool thing for automotive lifestyle brand Hoonigan, in which I cannot wait to share that one.
That's still secret?
It's still secret.
They quietly rolled it out to people, right?
To the if you were in their loyalty program and you were a VIP, so like the top 50 customers, they got the sneak preview.
All right.
And that's a cool way, like if you're launching a new thing, to do that, to go about that. Like that's literally how we're beta testing it. We showed it to staff first, then the top 50 customers, and then like on down the line. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
The also in automotive, Corsa, who if you want a really amazing sounding aftermarket exhaust, and you want a premium, you're like, look, I don't want to spend $100 having Velasquez Brothers weld on just like an $80 Cherry Bomb muffler, which that's actually a local shop I use, is Velasquez Brothers. You will spend the 4 figures potentially in a Corsa performance exhaust. So it's like a premium high-end exhaust brand, and I did the theme design myself on this one, and it's really cool. And we've got like this year make model selector that we built into it. There was a real challenge, and this really cool product detail page. That one is cool. Should be live. New theme should be up and out there when this goes live. So we'll see. There's always stuff that best laid plans of mice and men. And our friends at KeySmart also getting a new theme. This should be. That one I think we pushed the envelope. Tell me if I'm wrong. We may have, like, that may be the most technically complex theme you've ever built.
It's
Because you did the development of
Well, it's one of the harder things I've ever worked on. It's just that they're very specific. If you think about Shopify, it's really on like a templating system where it's like, well, every product page is, it's generally the same stuff. I mean, the content inside the boxes changes, but the page itself is pretty much the same. And it's like, well, not on KeySmart, because, they are sort of they have like a penumbra of different products. Like, they sell a keychain holder, but they also sell a backpack, but then they also sell wallets, but then they also sell like these lights and all these different types of products. So then all of those products have their
really nice flashlights.
They do.
Yeah, they got a couple pocket knives, flashlights. The key organizer is the core product, but there's like 10 versions of that. And they have these amazing bags. We have those bags. They're really good.
Oh, yeah, that backpack's
wallets.
Great.
Yeah, you're right. Like, now that I never thought about it because it got rolled. When we started working with KeySmart years ago, they were one of our earlier clients. It was only the key organizer. And then they really expanded out the catalog, but it was like, obviously not all at once. I never thought about it. You're right. It's fairly disparate, but it's kind of around... The commonality is...
It's everyday carry
think that it's
type.
Urban lifestyle.
No.
It's like a more modernist take on everyday carry.
But yeah, so anyway, those wonderful gentlemen over there, in scare quotes, Andy have a different page. Has a different page for every kind of product, and all those pages have like bundlers, because it's like you need accessories, and like we'll give you a deal on the accessories, but you got to pick them, and then you pick all the different accessories, and it all gets dumped into your cart, and the price changes depending on how many you buy, and all.
Listen.
The buying process.
Who cares about average order value? Right?
They do wonderful work. They do very well financially, I will say, and because of their selling proposition and how all that works, I'm just saying in terms of my job and what I have to do, I want to kill myself for the last 3 months.
Oh my gosh! Don't do it. I need you.
Yeah.
We'll be together soon. I promise.
It's so lonely here. All I have is my wife.
Your wife's like, I was gonna say, your wife's like 20 feet away, isn't she? She's off camera crying quietly.
She's in the bedroom with the door closed, trying to like not make noise.
Tune this out. Yeah, I'm on the first floor of the house, and like when I'm recording, I notice my wife's not. She's on the second floor with the door closed.
I'm excited because the basement of our house is finished, and the office in the basement will be my lair. So if we're not allowed back in the office for the rest of the year, at some point I will be broadcasting to you from my secret basement lair down in Deep 13.
Well, I'll be mailing some acoustic foam to you. I ended up putting in the home office, I put acoustic foam in to try and kill some of the room noise, and it worked. I think anyway. So one of the things that we have missed because of the quarantine is Shopify Unite, the annual partner developer conference that only Shopify partners, no merchants allowed, where they announce their they do new features and rally the troops, and it's really it's a good time. I've looked forward to it ever since doing the first one. Look forward to going to it every year. This year was going to be at this wonderful venue that both you've been to. We both like that a lot.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to it. The Brickworks one was my first Unite, and I had a great time. The weather was beautiful. I'd been to Toronto before. Toronto's a great city. And, you got a face-to-face with Toby. You interviewed him. I got a photo of you. You look like $1 million. You're like,
I was so thrilled.
Look at me.
He has beautiful blue eyes in person. Okay?
You were so excited. You were like, you were freaking sweating. You were like, I hope Paul's taking photos of this.
Yeah, I'm always sweating. I'm just a sweaty man.
Yeah, because you're wearing a sweater indoors.
I'm sorry. Listen, I know that you operate on, it's like shorts 320 days out of the year. I can't do it. I got stupid chicken legs, so I like to wear long pants. I need to. I've got these very nice jeans now from a Shopify merchant, Aviator. They sent me these. They feel like sweatpants because they're like 80% spandex, 20% denim. I exaggerated that, but they're fabulous. Check them out, Aviator. And the free plug there. And I've got this I'm wearing a fleece sweater because it was supposed to be 45 degrees today, and now I'm hot and sweaty. This is a chubby sweater to another Shopify store. I'm decked out full Shopify.
Are you wearing ALLBIRDS shoes?
I am not wearing ALLBIRDS shoes. I'm wearing North Face camo slippers. Hold on. There. This is on brand, but does not match my outfit. There. The YouTube version gets to see my shoes.
Yeah, I'm wearing my fuzzy flannel slippers. I think the flannel lining is truly underrated. You don't want the sheepskin or whatever. You want the flannel. A quality house shoe is critical to maximizing your home chilling. Your home productivity, I think. Anyway, I just want to circle back to something for one thing. You truly do have chicken legs, and it's wild because you have.
My wife stares at them and goes, "We should switch."
It's like because you have a giant barrel gorilla chest.
I'm a freakish man.
And then it tapers down into tiny, skinny chicken legs.
Yes.
You're very
I look
top
ridiculous.
You're the opposite of a weeble.
Yes, I'm a top heavy man. I'm 6 feet tall with a lot of hair. It's just a ridiculous looking individual.
Yeah, that's true. And then your outfits just take it off the top.
Yeah, then I dial it up. I'm wearing these chubby's outfits. So we were talking about Unite before we went off on that quite the tangent there. Look, if you're not into the tangents, just give up on the show because this is what we do. So Shopify Unite, but really the big thing the thing we love about Shopify Unite is the community and the networking and the face-to-face. But the thing that we take away from it, that we then turn into content is the product announcements. Like that's the exciting thing for the merchants is, hey, what's coming down the pipeline? And for the developers, it's like, hey, what's that thing we got to figure out, right? There's always a little bit of trepidation when you're listening to those announcements. If you're a developer, you're wondering like, is this going to undo my app? Am I going to have to pivot? And last year they announced a whole bunch of cool stuff. This year, let's take some guesses at what they're going to announce. Because the other thing, Shopify, did I mention this? They're doing a virtual version of the keynote, the announcements called Shopify Reunite. It's a webinar, it's virtual. Anyone can register for it. I'll put the link in the show notes. And of course, we're going to watch it and recap it for you if you don't want to watch it. But would you like to take a stab in the dark at what they're announcing? We don't know. This is pure guesswork. No one's told me. They don't tell me anything, just so we're clear.
That all the stuff they announced all the stuff they announced last year is now 6 months away.
That sounds like a joke, but it's not. There were a bunch of announcements, and there were two big ones that I think we're still waiting on. Sections Everywhere, which is still in development, and the checkout integrations. Can you walk me through what the heck those things are?
Sections Everywhere is a thing where, if you've interacted with your homepage has sections on it where it's like you got all the logos of the places that gave you good reviews, or you have like an embedded product, or you have an embedded collection, or you have a piece of content, and then you could move those all around on the homepage. And then there are certain product pages that have that too. Like if you're using Turbo, I think it's called product.detail, and that's what we call them internally, is we call them detail pages. But those all live within a template. So if you're set up with one product detail template and you put all the sections in it, you get it all set up and nice, any other product you give that template to is going to look exactly the same because the section can only live in that template. And when you apply that template to different products, it just repeats itself with the same content. Now, Sections Everywhere is a section can now be placed in whatever template you want and then can be different depending on what template it's in. So we'll go back to the KeySmart issue. KeySmart, every product page is different and has a bunch of different elements on it. This necessitated creating a different template for every single product. It was a nightmare. And it's horrible to upkeep because if you want to change something site-wide, you got to change it 30 times. With Sections Everywhere, you would not have to do that.
Sections Everywhere is a time saver. It solves all these saves you a whole bunch of extraneous development that currently we have to do.
Yeah, it's an attempt to make the theme more modular so you could pull a thing off the home. It's like, I have that on the home page. The code is all set up. I can plug it into a different page on the site and write different content in it. But the section itself is generally the same in terms of how it's laid out and how it works. Whereas you can't do that now.
If you have a theme that supports sections, and at this point you probably do, and you've messed with sections on your homepage. Now imagine if those sections, and then you look at a different, like a product detail page, and it has different sections. The idea is those sections would be universal across the theme. If a section works on a homepage, it'll work on a product page, it'll work on a blog page. And I think it also solves that issue where we have to duplicate the templates over and over. I don't know if that's the case or not.
Yeah. I think
it does.
That's the thing to me, that's the thing that sells it.
Yeah. And there'd be an API for it where apps could write sections in automatically. So you install an app instead of having to deal with theme code. Boom, it's just got its own section you can drop in any page to show you where you want that widget. And that would be cool for our crowdfunder app, or really any of our apps. All 4 of our apps are it's a widget, a theme widget. That would be great for that. And I think there was also a larger push to further separate style and substance. So get all of the content out of the theme as much as possible, which then makes theme upgrades, updates, and theme changes much easier. But
so that's
they announced it last June.
They announced it last year. It's in beta where you can use the API to mess alpha with it. But yeah, it's no person who's running actual Shopify store has it. No theme that you can get right now has it.
So it's been a year since they announced it. We're assuming that's such a big deal. I think it's a safe guess that we're going to get an update on that.
Yeah, we're going to get an update on it. But I mean, and I was snarky at the top of this, but I mean, it's truly a re-architecture of the entire theme system and how it works. So it's a big project. It's huge. My snark was just sometimes Shopify announces things a little early when perhaps I would wait.
At the same time, though, people always want to know, what's Shopify working on? What are the new features? What's coming down the pipe? And then when they're like, okay, here, we told you what we're working on. Then they're mad that they can't have it.
Well, and
Shopify can't win. It's either we're mad that you told us and we have to wait, or you're mad that we don't know what you're working on. What?
Well, it's kind of like Blizzard, where it's it's sort of yeah, we're making Diablo 4, but it'll be out in maybe 2023, maybe. But and they have to announce it early because there's a whole ecosystem. There's hundreds of millions of dollars of people out there who rely on Shopify's ecosystem, like us, like theme developers out of the sandbox, app developers, all those people. So they need to be ready for when Shopify makes this gigantic change within their systems, so they're ready for it and they can serve their customers.
Essentially, with that, if you're a theme developer and Shopify made that announcement, you, as a theme developer, you simultaneously went, "That's awesome! Oh God, don't make me do this."
Yeah, because
you have to rewrite your theme.
Pretty much all the work that you've done in your business is now obsolete and trash. That's what they stood on stage and was like, "Yeah, your life's work that you've done so far, throw it out." It's like that. It's pretty horrible.
Well, they're going to listen. We're telling you how we're enabling you to make it that much more awesome.
Yeah,
see,
right.
Glass half full.
No, I'm just gonna get up on stage and just be like, "You're fucked," and then turn around and leave.
All right, for the next one, theme developers, you're gonna want to take the Xanax, and then wait about 45 minutes. Then the app developers, you're next. You take your Xanax. As everyone walks in, they pass out Xanax.
We do like a two-hander. I just stand up there holding a microphone, going, "You're fucked," and then Harley bounds across the stage and tells us how great it is, because Harley is one of the most positive mans I've ever met in my life.
He is a delight, isn't he?
Harley's like, "This is why you being fucked is great."
No, take it back. We got to give somebody a hard time. And the other ones were multi-store. So one of the pain points with Shopify Plus that it solves is, hey, if you're running multiple stores, so you've got a store for wholesale and your consumer store. That's a really common example. Shopify Plus will let you clone under, like, at no additional cost. You can have 10 additional clone stores, I think it is. But there's not a simple way to just manage all of them in one place. Like, there's third-party ways to do it that are okay. But there's no just like, this is your centralized Shopify dashboard. And that was one of the things they announced last year. And so I'm assuming like we're going to get a date on that rolling out. The fulfillment network got announced last year. That was massive. And we actually know a guy who used it.
Fulfillment
so it's
network
real.
is huge and it works. Yes.
Yeah. Brent Dowd from Tosso, he used it and shared his experience in our Facebook group. So we know that that's not vaporware. It's out there. And the other thing they announced was the improved media uploads. Where like normally I could only upload photos. Now I can upload what other things, Paul?
HTML5 video and AR virtual reality stuff.
You could put a 3D model in.
Yeah,
and then iOS will like natively, if you're on an iPhone, you could do augmented reality where you see the object in your house. And we saw the demo of that in person. It was really cool. That's now live. That's out there.
That's for real. Yeah. Every single person I've showed that to has been like, what? Like,
and actually,
it's real.
I mentioned Brett Dowd from Tosso is like an early Shopify fulfillment network adopter. He also is the first guy I've seen who used the native AR tool. And he has a collection on his website that's just tosso.com, I think it is, where you could do the AR models from your iPhone. It's really cool.
And the last thing was the checkout, where in Shopify, Shopify really views the checkout as like their baby. Like that's
whole hallowed ground.
That's what the business is Shopify, because they handle the money, they handle the checkout process, the addresses, setting up your back end. That's what Shopify truly views as like, here's the special thing we have. That's the thing we control. That's our thing. Now, in the course of all of that, over the years, different apps have grown that do things in the Shopify checkout. And I think the kind of official story is Shopify is sort of like, okay, we understand that those apps are needed and people like them and use them, but also we kind of don't like that. So
stop hijacking our checkout. That's our thing.
Yeah. So there's been like a real push and pull.
So you've got like an app. For an app to replace the Shopify checkout, it essentially has to clone it. It has to look like it. So now you've got essentially, like Shopify as a brand, you have your official partner apps making clones of your core product experience. And you're really hoping that it lives up to the same standard. But it fundamentally can't, because there are some limitations there. And that, like, I understand where that could be concerning if you have to maintain this brand image and user experience is extremely important. And that checkout is like the defining moment that determines if you get that purchase or not from a customer. So they said, all right, look, we're not going to wall you out of the checkout. We're going to give you a pathway to add your subscriptions and your one-click upsells and whatever it is right into the checkout. I do know they are actively working with third-party developers on these integrations, and that those folks all signed NDAs, so they won't tell me anything.
Yeah, that's the thing. So that we know people that know things, and we've asked them many times what exactly is happening, and they refuse to tell us.
Listen, snitches get stitches. They can't say. But at least like that confirms the fact that someone goes, I can't tell you because of an NDA. That tells you, okay, well, at least I know that that's real and that's out there and happening. Well, any other predictions?
I think the checkout thing's going to come out. I think it's been long enough, and I mean, I don't know what's going on there with it, obviously, but I think the checkout thing should happen. Like they clearly are going to have to announce something that they announced last year is now ready. And I don't know about the sections thing. I mean, I was actually looking around last night on Shopify theme development, and it still seems very beta-y to me. So I don't know if that's ready to rock.
The other one. So I'm thinking like, all right, now that this AR thing, going a little bit backwards, now that this AR thing is out in the wild, having announced it last year, that there'll be like updates and extensions to that. Because I really think that is a strong focus for them, because it gives them such a leg up on like everybody else. No one else is doing anything that advanced. But now the question becomes, well, if I'm a merchant, how the heck do I get a 3D model? Well, it turns out like you could get a freelancer to do it for like $100. But I think we're going to get like tools around that AR VR. And then
I wonder if Shopify will just jump in and start providing it as like a service.
Maybe not. I think it'll be, my guess is like it's part of the Shopify Partners program, where like you have a partner that does this, and they'll have announced like more official ones. I mean, I know they were soliciting that like a year ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And then finally the last one is, I think we're going to get like a roadmap for the email that unexpectedly launched.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I think there's going to be a roadmap. I mean, I think they're going to end up making it more robust, because I mean, right now it's certainly better than nothing, but it's not on the level of the bigger guns that people are more used to, at least in the space.
I don't know that it's meant to be, though. But you're right. Like, the initial version is you have your store, and your Shopify store has your list of customers who accept marketing. Now you have, at no additional cost, you have the ability to send those people emails. The initial, I don't know what features they have or have not added since they launched it. But I heard it. You couldn't schedule emails. It was like you could send a newsletter. Done. Like that's its core feature. It does this one thing well. But that's also part of like Shopify, and really I think Toby's vision in his German way is, hey, this stuff has to work. Like, you want a precise, reliable, easy to use platform. And so they, if you've heard Toby talk, you know he's very deliberate, very deliberate and considered. Well, that mentality gets passed down into, I think, the core product itself. So you never see anything sloppy come from Shopify. You will see stuff that's like is limited in scope and features, but it absolutely will work. And I think that's just them.
You know, having interacted with Toby a couple times, he's like the anti-Elon Musk. He's just the chillest dude.
That's a true compliment to me.
No, I mean that very highly. He's just like, he's an extremely chill dude, and he's just like, well, this is what we're doing. Like, I'm fine with it. He's got a little accent, but he's very nice and considered is a really good word.
Yeah, I think deliberate and considered. So all right. Any other guesses at announcements?
I make no guesses.
Okay. Really, it was like, well, we're going to get more. We were very conservative. I think it's like, we're going to get more guesses about the stuff we already got. There's nothing outrageous that we've guessed here. If I go outrageous, maybe like Fulfillment Network expands to a different continent.
Get to our email tip, and then we're done.
All right. So my advertising tip comes from Andy Bedell, who marketer KeySmart. He has, I know he's spent up to $30,000 a day on Facebook ads in the past, and he laid out for me the system he uses to get winning creative. And he's used this for years and has really become a master at it.
I need to interrupt you for a second. $30,000 a day doesn't begin to cover the insane things that Andy Bedell does. As didn't he not literally advertise to everyone in America at one point, and thus could no longer buy ads in America?
Well, yes, he is. When you spend $30,000 a day, you exhaust your audience. Yeah, he was like that level of Facebook.
Everyone
involved.
in America has seen this ad. I need to move on now to other countries.
Yes. And it's not like that's a one day, like when we say he spent $30,000 a day, that's not like a one day thing. That's like an ongoing occurrence for him. I think there are very few people on the planet who have managed the kind of ad spends that Andy has. Like, I'm sure, people do it for like launches and stuff. I mean, this is just like a regular occurrence for him. So when Andy gives me advice on Facebook ads, I accept it. But they've had a lot of success with video ads, but video, as everybody who's ever spent 3 hours editing a 5-minute video knows it's hard and time consuming. So the approach he takes is you write down 5 value props, benefits, features, whatever it is that you think are the selling propositions of your product. You write down 5. You turn that into a video slideshow. You get shoot some photos, get some stock photos, put some music and some headlines over it. And you run that as an ad. If it's successful, great. Turn around and produce, that was essentially a storyboard. You then turn that into your proper video ad. And if it doesn't work, okay, then you iterate on it. Or maybe you iterate on it a few times and then produce your video and then do cut downs of the video, edit it different ways. And then, just repeat that process endlessly. And it sounds straightforward because it is straightforward, but most people take a shotgun approach where it's all right, we're going to try this. Now we're going to try this. Which, that gets results too, but not in this very deliberate, nuanced, and easier to scale method. That's the tip.
Okay.
That's your money-making tip.
That's the tip.
Young money, cash money.
Now, for the big boy, let us tear down ALLBIRDS.com.
So I guess as long as you're not in your car right now, load up ALLBIRDS.com, one word,
and
all
follow along.
birds, and follow along. Why shoes are all birds? Why are the shoes birds? Do they fit all birds? Are you the bird? I don't understand it really. I learned they sell shoes a couple weeks ago.
All birds.
Like a Austin Powers woman, like a bird, like that.
Okay. I've got allbirds.com open in front of me. I'm also recording it as a screencast so we can add this to the YouTube.
Oh, so smart.
Yeah. Mr. Rita, what is your initial impression of the ALLBIRDS homepage?
I like it. I like the top half of it very much. This top navigation of just men and women, that's great. You're immediately. I like decision trees where it's shopping is clearly the key. We're immediately splitting it in half, men, women, and then when you click on those, you get a drop down with 4 more categories in it, and then those categories have little things underneath them. So it's very easy to find exactly what you're looking for right off the bat.
An interesting thing about the drop down is on hover it does not open. You have to click it to open it, and then it stays open until you click it again. I realize the advantage to that is it's less annoying for people, but I like when it pops open on hover. I prefer it. It's a preference, but if you're real into user interface design, the hover could be problematic for accessibility issues. If you had a hand tremor and you're trying to use a hover menu, it's extremely frustrating.
Yeah, and I guess it is a little more professional and cleaner. It's not popping in and out, and you're going most off of it.
Yeah,
now
that does that thing. It pops it. Ugh.
Yeah.
So people always worry about the fold. Well, an interesting thing about this ALLBIRDS site, I've got it full screened on my 15-inch MacBook, and it is not obvious at all that you could scroll down. The hero image ends perfectly at the bottom. There's no there's more link trying to get me to scroll down. It's just boom there. And the advantage to this is everything I need to make take the next step in the purchase decision is available above the fold. It's literally top left corner because they know we read in an F pattern, top to bottom, left to right. So that's where the first thing is. It's going to segment us. There are only 2 links in that top corner. Men, women. There's no Facebook icon. There's no visit our blog, read our live journal. None of that. 2 options. Are you a man? Are you shopping for men or are you shopping for women? Pick.
Well, and it's interesting, if you resize your browser window and then reload the page, that main hero image, it's 100 VH. It is always the full height of your browser window. So
hold on. This extremely successful brand is not scared of the fold?
No. Well, because their navigation's so good, it's fine.
That's a good point. That saves it.
Yeah, they literally have one thing above the fold. Run hard, tread light, introducing the tree dasher. And there's no it's not a link. It's just text over a big, nice image. Then at the bottom, it says, explore the dasher, which takes you to a sales page for it. But, I mean, it's not it's not the most direct call to action, I don't think. I mean, it's tucked in there at the bottom.
No, I wish I could click the entire thing.
Yeah.
I wish the Explore the Dasher link was looked like a button. It's functioning as a button. I think it should look like a button. And I wish it, if it had a solid background, I think it would work. I don't think it would take anything away from the design. And if you notice, they use an image carousel. But how many images are in that image carousel?
2 men,
Looks
women.
like just 2.
Again,
yeah,
just like the top navigation. But yeah,
and then the text doesn't change, just the image. That's cool.
Their big hero image is the full height of the browser window. The fold is now obliterated. They clearly don't care if you scroll down or not. And I kind of feel that way. Like when you scroll down, I don't like this tread lighter that shows the carbon footprint and their sustainability approach. It's like, whatever, I don't care. This thing
I care. I like that's a bonus for me. If I see that they have a net zero carbon footprint, I'm not going to buy because of it, but it's a point in their favor for me. But that's to me that matters. Even though half the time it's probably made up.
They have this series of this collage of running shoes engineered with natural materials, and it's got a close up of I don't know, fur, and then shoes, and then a footprint in the sand, and then another shoe. But it's all the boxes are different sizes, and the text is over the image and maybe not perfectly readable. And it's just this to me is just this just got barfed up there. I don't like it. There's no cleanliness to the grid. There's no single call to action. I don't like it.
I refuse to believe in a universe in which they have not heat mapped or split tested the bejesus out of this layout to get to this place.
I fully acknowledge they hire people much smarter than me who cost a lot more money than me. So
and you're not cheap, to be clear.
I'm probably wrong. I just don't like it.
You know what's cool in their footer? It says you could text them. Under help, the first thing's their phone number. It's a toll-free number. Second one is a phone number that says text. How cool. You could text them. I think more people should allow texting.
100%. Well, and isn't that what Kit is for? Or am I wrong?
Shopify Ping.
Shopify Ping. There you go.
Shopify Ping will do it. Yeah. And someone told me recently that there's either Shopify Ping or some other official, and I may be wrong, but a merchant we're working with who's launching a really cool bathing suit for women said oh yeah, I found this, they give you a phone number and people could call it or text it. I think she was talking about Ping. It's cool. If I had to design this homepage, that's what I would go all in on this landing page concept, and I would strip on this homepage below the hero image and then down to the social proof with the logos and the quotes. I would strip all that out. I just want it to, I land on the site, I want header, hero image, and then still in the viewport at the bottom, I want those social proof logos and that quote, world's most comfortable shoe. And then below the fold, I want the footer. And this thing would be really tight.
I would want one more men-women split. Maybe that explore fan favorites thing, and then a men-women split. I just don't like that. I feel like shop men and shop women at the bottom of that are kind of an afterthought. I would like a better designed way to split you off and get you down the road to finding the exact shoe you want.
I could be wrong, but I believe that's how the hero image used to be shop men, shop women. At some point, I believe it was. I've not looked at the site in some time. All right, let's get off a homepage. Let's get ourselves some shoes.
All right. I'm clicking men's top sellers.
Men. Oh, okay. And they use a mega menu, but it's just 3 simple link lists organized by category: shoes, socks, accessories. And then we have, the only images are collections, top sellers, and Dasher. So Dasher's the new product, it's their featured thing. Top sellers is where I want to know what everybody else is buying. I'm torn between top sellers and boat shoes. I could go for some boat shoes right now. All right. So I've moved to top sellers. Did you see how it renders? I bet this whole There's like a loading thing, and then when the page is done rendering, it appears. I wonder if this site is React.
I didn't get that because my internet is fast enough to be fine.
Listen, I have many megabits, but I also have 3 children who are like streaming 2 4K HD videos at the same time, each of them. I've got no bandwidth left.
Don't worry, I'm sure my wife is watching Ladies of London on Peacock right now.
I don't have Comcast, so I was not able to get in the Peacock beta.
The UI and the UX is absolutely horrifying. It's impossible to use. I'm waiting for it to actually show up on my Amazon Fire TV before I look into it.
All right, so on the collection page, we've got
they're interrupting. They interrupt the collection list with these sort of lifestyle images and quotes from people, which is interesting. Cool. Something that I've done on a store. I wrote a whole thing to do that for one of our clients, and then we showed it. We thought it was really cool. We loved it, and then we showed it to them, and they didn't care and never used it. But I could do that if you want me to.
It's true, yeah. If anyone wants this, we figured out how to do it. Where it's, you built it. Describe how it works in the collection settings.
Well, the way that I set it up is, it calls the collection. The way the collection template works is it's like 4 product and collection products. So they have a collection called Men's Best-Selling Shoes, and then it just iterates through every single product in that listing until it reaches the end. And the way you do it is in the Shopify code. You just have a thing where you go 4 products and collection products, limit 5. And then after the 5th one, it stops showing products, and you could inject whatever you want. And then when you're done injecting it, you restart the collection listing, and with 4 product and collection products, skip 5. So it'll skip the first 5. So you just stop the collection loop and then restart it again after you're done doing your stuff. And they're doing it. I wonder if their system's probably better than mine, because they're doing it a lot here. They stopped this collection 4 times to pop something in there.
Yeah, I wonder how they do it. Maybe it's a block. And then in the block, you set position.
Well, I'm looking at it. I mean, every single box in there is got a style on it called grid item, including the interrupters. But the grid items have a additional class called story card. So those are apparently story cards that are different from the regular product that's a grid item.
There we go. We have a name for it now. Story card.
Or we're calling that a story card now, by the way.
All right. So I like this collection page. I love their story cards. I think it really adds a lot to a collection page, which a collection page just has to look good and pretty. Here, I think they're able to add content and context to it, where it's really nice. And I desperately wish someone would let us do this for them. The thing that is suspiciously absent is product review stars, and there's no sorting. I wish I could sort by.
It's the best-selling.
It's
the best-selling collection, so I assume it is sorted by best-selling.
Good point. Hey, scroll on down to the men's wool loungers. I love them. You know what's really cool is on desktop that hover effect.
And you know what?
I love that.
Here's a weird thing. Go to the wool runners and the tree runners next to each other, and then bop your thing from side to side. What element does that middle white belong to? Because all it is adding it's adding a background shadow onto it to make it sort of pop out. But the middle gutter belongs to both of them and is part of the hover state. So I need to look into how they did that.
So as a CSS nerd, this excites you?
It doesn't excite me. I'm just wondering how they did it.
Well, I like it. I want it. Give me this.
Oh my God.
Put this on something. I'm very into it.
Well,
I click on men's wool loungers. Because these these look nice. I want these.
All right.
Oh,
all right. Well,
what's the first thing that jumps out at you on here?
Well, the first thing that jumped out at me is I swapped the color, the classics color, and if you look at the URL, it switches the product. This isn't one of those where it has variants. They're all completely different. They are all different product listings you're switching between, which is a thing we've seen on other stores, that I don't quite understand how people do that.
It's got to be written in JavaScript. That's the only way. It looks good. The thing I noticed is the add to cart button is disabled until you pick a darn size.
Oh yeah. We've run into that a lot. People just love adding extra small to their cart, not picking anything.
Yeah, if they look at it, go, oh cool, yeah, that is what I want. They can just click add to cart. Yeah, looking at this thing, it is just, it's lovely. They force the size. I like they've got a size chart. It opens in a modal window. Oh my gosh, if you have anything that involves sizes, give them the size chart. The other really nice thing they do here is right under that add to cart button. What's my number one fear about buying something, especially something with sizes? What happens if it doesn't fit? Well, that's why they've got the size chart to try and reassure me. But then below the add to cart button, free shipping and 30-day returns, no questions asked. So now they have actively busted my objection thoroughly. And then they do a nice, go ahead.
Check out the size chart. When you click on it at the bottom of the size chart, still debating? No worries. Our hassle-free 30-day return policy allows you to try us on for size and find the perfect pair. So, I mean, they're even busting the return objection in the size chart.
And, one of the things that I think some merchants wrongly believe is like, well, we can only tell you something once. And here they're telling it's the exact, it's the same text in both places on this product page. So if it's important, keep telling me about it.
All right, this is really, this is really stupid, but click on one of the images, the product photos, and blow it up, and then hover over the close button.
Oh, the size charts X does the same thing. Yeah, it's all CSS animation. I wondered if you were going to bring that up.
That's so minor, but it's just like, oh.
You love that. You love it.
It's just a little cute thing. I love it.
I think it's important to have those little UX details. Like recent on the Corsa performance site, the add to cart button, you did this. The background of the add to cart button on hover changes to carbon fiber, this exotic material they use. I thought that was great. The other thing they do here that we see on ALLBIRDS, that we see a lot, is the badges that communicate the core product offerings. And then what's nice about that is like that kind of becomes a design language that occurs across multiple products. So
yeah, we've been doing that a lot. We've been doing that a lot lately, and I like it a lot.
The downside is you got to have an illustrator, or you need to be able to, they need to be fairly generic things, or universal is the right word. Universal elements where you could find an off-the-shelf icon set that does it. So either do that, or if the client will provide illustrations, or our designer's also an illustrator, so we can get those made. And then they do accordion menus, which I'm not in love with. I'm sure they tested the heck out of it. Let me refresh. So yeah, the accordion menu, it's 100 characters.
It's so tiny. Menus. Yeah, and it's one of those things where
just leave them open.
We had a little bit of there was a back and forth a couple of months ago in the Facebook group about this, where someone was like, well, what if, and I came out hard of being like, hey, if you have information to tell people, don't hide it from them. Put it all out there. And someone was like, well, what if it's not that important? It was like, well, if it's not important, then why is it on your product page? If it's important enough to be on the product page, which is arguably the most important page on your store, then you should make it easy for people to see. And if it's so unimportant that we could just hide it from people and they don't need to look at it, well, why is it even there in the first place? So
I agree with you.
I would be, and especially considering the size of these things, it's so tiny, the amount of stuff in there, just have these all expanded out. Just have, the headers are very nice. They got the little rule above them. Just have them all open.
And what's funny is on this page, there are reviews when you scroll down, but they don't do review stars on the collection page. They have review stars on the product page. I wonder why that is. And then the very atypical thing they do is how the product photos are listed out. They're in a grid, so there's no thumbnails. You just see all the photos and you can zoom them in.
Which we did this on AdamsPolishes.com,
and it works really well. If you've got great photos, it's just a great way to showcase it, and they absolutely did. All right, what happens if I add these to cart? Well, is there anything else?
Let's pop over to a different product. If you go back to the collection and go to the men's wool runners.
Wool runner mizzles?
I don't know.
All right, well, I'm looking at runners. Okay, what about it? Wow, there's a video.
That's right. There's a video in the product photos. And if you click on it, it expands out to be, a full giant video. But yeah, so that's what we were talking about
sweet.
In terms of having mixed media within your product photos.
Oh, that's cool. All right, well, I'm a size 11. Let's add this to cart. What happens? And of course, we get a drawer cart, which seems to be the standard now. That's in vogue. In the drawer cart, they have a free shipping progress bar right at the top. So it says, congrats, you get free standard shipping. And I'm willing to bet if my item was below their free shipping threshold, it would tell me the exact dollar amount I was away from free shipping. We got an
upsell in here. We got even better with tutors. And it tries to sell me some $16 socks. And if you hover over the ad thing, the little ad plus sign does a nice little rotation that I like very much.
You've done stuff like that. I've seen like that rotation effect.
Yeah, we do a bunch of stuff
on
Adams. We do stuff like that. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, and adding it.
Note this by the way. This is crazy. What size are your socks that are being offered?
Oh, look at that. They are the correct size to fit the shoes.
Yeah. They're reading what the size shoe is in the cart and then offering you the appropriately sized sock.
So doing cross-sells is fair. It's easy. It's fairly straightforward. Doing cross-sells with multiple variants, okay, now it's complicated because you can't just add it to cart. You need to know, like the person has to make a decision. So how do you do that in a clean way? And that's where this custom development really helps. In this case, it didn't have to bother asking me the size because it knew. That's very good. All right, let's check out. Did they style their checkout? Yes. Thank God they styled their checkout. You would be amazed
I would say
by
they
local
did.
stores that don't style the checkout. Yeah, they did. The fonts match. They got the logo up there. And it looks like there's a little bit of extra styling done on the thumbnails for the quantity. I noticed under gift card, the discount code input, they renamed it gift card. Because that's normally where you would stick a discount code or a gift card. Here they've renamed it. I'm guessing they don't do a lot of discounting. And then, subtotal. Expedited orders cannot be shipped or delivered on weekends, holidays, nor can they be shipped to a P.O. box. I'm willing to bet that people still type in P.O. boxes. There's an app that'll fix it. Address validator. You can force it to stop people from doing that. Cool. All right, the ALLBIRDS site's great. What's the verdict? What do you think?
It's a good site, Kurt.
That's very good.
They're good dogs, Brent.
The thing here, though, is like when people go, I want a site like ALLBIRDS, they're not seeing the tremendous level of effort and like coherent team effort that went into it. With it being, it's like this wasn't just, a designer and developer ran off and did this. This required tremendous support and buy-in from the ALLBIRDS organization in providing content and getting the data and the product information management sorted. And that's the kind of thing that really, like, if you want this level of polish, that's what makes or breaks you.
Yeah, they hired many people and paid them a lot of money over the span of many, many months in order for this to become like this. And
well, I mean, at this point, this has been ongoing for years.
I know.
Like,
I mean,
we're talking, the first version did not look this.
Yeah, we're talking.
It probably looked this nice. I doubt it functioned this nicely.
Yeah, we're talking about years of iteration here. But yes. That's the thing. It's like you want a store that's like ALLBIRDS. Okay, cool. You need to give us, probably a 6-figure amount of money. And then we're going to work together over the next 3 years or so. And hopefully at the end of the 3 years, there may be something like ALLBIRDS.
There's also a lot of self-restraint. There's a lot of self-editing here. Like, this site is not covered in weird widgets. There's not sticky elements everywhere. There's not a ton of like bonus bizarre content that had to be added. It's very deliberate.
I mean, to a lot of people we've spoken to and have had to deal with over the years, that navigation and that single giant homepage image would never have gotten past them. They never would have allowed it. It is too much of a choice. They can't have something that's like that confident of a choice be in their store. They're more worried about covering all their bases and like shoveling more garbage on there to like, well, what about this? Well, what about this? What about this? Whereas ALLBIRDS is just like, here's the stuff. There's 3 things. You're done. And they're confident enough to go with that.
100%. Yeah, it takes confidence. And one of the things that we consistently see is people are often, they're scared to make bold decisions in life in general, but also in website design. And we almost always see clients get like the equivalent of wedding jitters, wedding nerves before launching a new design, a new theme, a new store. And it seems it seems like a very normal thing. But you got to have, at some point, you just got to press send, right? You got to send it.
Yeah, I've been thinking, it's sort of like nobody's favorite movie is a Ron Howard movie. Like, no one's just like, man, Ron Howard does it again. So great, so cool. Like, he does good. See, like, he does good, fine work that everyone can enjoy, but it's like he doesn't engender the kind of rabid enjoyment and love and attention grabbing that David Lynch or like someone crazy or someone with a more distinctive choice making style does. And I think that's kind of what ALLBIRDS does. Not that it's David Lynch, because there isn't like a fucking all the stuff isn't backwards sensical or whatever, but they make choices and they stick with them and they go through it with those thoughts in mind.
Well, we've gone over an hour. Let's wrap it up there. And the last thing I want to close on is if you enjoyed that teardown and you want to see more of that teardown action, I am joining Conversion Rate Optimization Pro Nick DeSabato, fellow Shopify agency owner Chase Clymer, and email copywriting enthusiast Val Geisler for a virtual Shopify meetup in a couple weeks. And the link is in the show note. It's it's a long, not great link, but it's a virtual Shopify meetup presented by Honest Ecommerce, and it's free, so I hope to see you there. The link will be in the show notes. And as always, join our Facebook group where I already announced that virtual conference. Anything else, Mr. Rita, before I hit stop?
No. I need to eat lunch and go back to KeySmart.
All right. Enjoy your lunch, and you have work to do, and I will talk to you soon.
All right. Goodbye.
See you guys.